It's time for me to finish up the heat and air conditioning portion of this swap. I've been kind of slacking on it. Weather's been really nice. I've put a couple thousand miles on the truck. Runs great, drives great. Everything's been great. But here's the problem I'm having. Foggy windshield. And that's all on the inside. And I've got no heater to defog this, so I'm having trouble driving it now. So the goal for this video will be to disconnect my little heater loop, run that up to the heater core, finish the install on the air conditioning. All the hardware is in place. I just need to do the wiring. And then I need to clean up this mess of stock wiring that's mostly not connected anymore. So I've been waiting on to do that until the air conditioning was all wired up, because that's the last thing to wire. So I'm going to tear this apart to where I can get all my stuff done. So over here, this is the driver's firewall. And this is the group of wires that comes through the firewall from the dash area. And right here is my vacuum line. And this runs to the heater controls. So that needs a full vacuum source signal. So I think the easiest place to get that is going to be possibly here on the fuel rail. This is a full source vacuum. I just need to tee into this. I'll look around, see if I can find a better spot, but I think that's going to be the way to go. For the vacuum source for my controls, I've got the stock hose here, which ties into the stock thing down there that goes through the firewall. And then it connects to this. It's a vacuum reservoir. I'm guessing it helps just smooth out the signal. So that's all the factory hoses. So this goes to the intake on the 2.2 liters. So what I'm going to do, so I thought about teeing this line into something like the fuel regulator or brake booster or something like that, but I don't think that's the right decision. So what I'm going to do, right there on the intake, there's those three holes that are not really holes. So I'm going to try to smooth out those ribs, and then I'm going to drill and tap that and put a barbed fitting on it. So hopefully that works. Going to have a slight change to the plan here. So I was over there scraping away, and I noticed this guy on the other side. So that looks like a fitting with like a molded in plug. So I'm going to see if I can just snap this piece off. And never used one of these before. I've never even noticed that these are on every intake. But it looks like something factory that'll give me vacuum. Looks like you just snap this guy off. Uh-oh. We might be in business here. Let me go find something to stick down this hole. I can't tell if it's open or if I got to drill it out. Hey, look at that. I got pine needles laying around. Shove a pine needle in there. Oh, look at that. All right, so if you need a vacuum port and your intake has one of these, just snap that thing off. And then waste $5 buying a brass fitting at Lowe's. Just like Winnie the Pooh. All right. Well, that was easy. So now the vacuum line's done. I'll go ahead and run it behind there like it was from the factory. Stopped at the AutoZone and got some supplies. So these are the gaskets for air conditioning systems. 15 bucks for this whole bag. There's the part number and everything. They usually just carry these in stock. This is the Orifice Tube. Always replace these. It's a good idea. It's got like a built-in filter, so that's why you always want to replace them. These can get clogged up pretty easy. And this is just for the S10 model I'm using. It's pretty universal for most GMs. Then the last thing I got was some PEG 46. This is the AC lubricant that my compressor takes, and this is the non-dyed version. And I'm just going to use this to flush the lines out a little bit, because there's probably a little bit of dust or stuff in there. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that. But that's it for supplies. Changing out the orifice tube is pretty easy. This is the bottom of my AC box. And on the S10s, it's down here. So you just get some needle nose pliers and pull it on out. And that's why I'm changing it, because they get pretty nasty. It's a filter and an orifice tube, so they get gross. And they're cheap. It's like $3 or $4 for one of these. So to install it, same thing. You just slide it in. Seals on that little O-ring right there. Then we'll take the new one and slide it in the same way. If you need to, you can lubricate this with the PEG 46 also. Normally I just slide right in. So that's all set. So I'm going to get my lines ready for install, and I'm going to sort of flush them out. The right way to do this is to have a whole enclosed system where you can just circulate the fluid through it, but I don't have that. You probably don't either. And all I'm going to do is pour a little bit in one end. Stick a rag over the other end. And I'm going to blow some compressed air through it. And you can see the crud that came out. So I'm going to do this a couple more times until nothing comes out but semi-clear fluid. And then we'll come back. Got my line all cleaned up. Hit it with a wire brush to make it look a little bit shinier. So now I'm going to take my new O-rings and install those now that my cleaning process is done. And these are fairly standard sizes. You can see this kit has all the main sizes. So don't worry if the chart doesn't say it fits yours. We'll slide the new one on. I'm going to just very lightly lubricate it with the same PEG 46. Then I'll set this line aside, work on the rest of them, and get ready to put them all in. Got all my parts kind of cleaned up and shiny-ish. All new O-rings, everything's clean. So we'll start putting everything together. So that completes all my physical connections. Got all my pieces in, tightened down. I'm still waiting on the right switch for this. I got to order a different one than the one I was going to use. But compressor's down in there. Condenser's ready to go. Lines are all installed. I also went ahead and installed my heater hoses while I had all the AC stuff pulled out and out of the way. So I just ran those down, ran them up to the firewall there. So up here, the heater core connections are the same size as the LS ones are, so it's pretty easy. You don't need adapters or anything. So I just need to get these clamped on, and I'll be ready to throw coolant in it and see if it leaks. And that is it for all the mechanical parts. I'm going to go ahead and test this for leaks and see if my heater hoses work out. And then I'm waiting on the switch for this, because I need a different one, and I'll explain all that in the third video, which will basically just be the wiring video. So there you go, one step closer.